Our next guest on the show is the founder of Evolution Trainers. It's a full-service personal training and wellness studio in Mountain View, California. She is also a two-time NCAA javelin champion while she was at the University of Oregon. Put your hands together for Ashley Selman. Ashley, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Give us a quick little history of Evolution Trainers, how it came to be and what spurred its origins.
Yeah, well, we've been in business here in Mountain View for 13 years. I was a personal trainer prior to that and just actually had a vision of helping other personal trainers and health professionals have long-term sustainable careers. It can be, a difficult career to make a long-term have the income to be a long-term successful career. So I wanted to create an environment that really supported and built up the best fitness professionals in the area. And we've had a lot of success doing that. Our team's now about 45 health and fitness professionals.
And so I first met Ashley when our campus was up at the original LinkedIn headquarters, and Ashley's studio was down the street on Pear Drive. Is that correct? It was on
Pear Avenue.
And how big was it then at that point?
We had a 10,000 square foot facility. We shared it with a physical therapy company as well. And that's how we started. And now we've moved into a 14,000 square foot facility.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
So what are some of the most common ubiquitous types of issues that you see people coming into Evolution Trainers with that you and your folks help them?
Yeah. Well, we know we've talked about triathlons and kind of high level athletic activities. But I think what the thing that we see a lot of and is more commonly talked about is our lifestyles are so sedentary these days with so much desk work and computer work that really just getting people to move in multiple planes of motion and challenging their tissue to move outside of the typical range of motion they move in during the day. I know you've talked about hydration. I don't know if I'm jumping the gun on that.
You're good.
But we talk about hydration and how much water you're drinking per day. But if you're stagnant during your day and you tend to be in the same positions, your tissue actually won't absorb that water. So in addition to drinking water and hydrating, moving your tissue in different positions and elongating your tissue is a critical part of that hydration to maintain healthy tissue and healthy function of your body for the long term.
It makes a lot of sense. The analogy we came up with as we were talking pre-show was that if you think about the earth and it doesn't have any water on it for a while, or it's not moved, the soil isn't moved, when water is put on top of it, it just runs off. Whereas when that soil has activity, whether it be plants growing in it that create aeration, whether it be actually someone tilling it, that allows the water to be absorbed. And actually then the goodness comes from there.
Great analogy. And the same thing, when we're static for too long, our tissue and our fascia tend to get adhered and stuck and a little more gummy, and then water isn't able to be absorbed. But by moving it and lengthening that tissue, it's similar to the soil. It starts to open it up and it's able to absorb that water and really stay pliable. Our body's meant to be pliable, and so that's an important part of it.
That's great. And fascial relief is found in a lot of our gyms. We have foam rollers in almost all of our gyms, in some of our studios, and they are also in the reward store. So go/wellness rewards. Grab yourself a foam roller. Ashley, you touched also on the fact that you are not just a trainer that has trained individuals to accomplish a personal goal, but you had a business goal of actually helping other trainers. And then that also has transitioned to you are a business consultant, a sought-after speaker that goes and helps people grow their businesses. Can you talk a little bit about how that transition occurred and how that success has come to you?
Yeah, so I started, as I said, Evolution to help trainers, and I grew a team and we had success. It almost surprised me at how successful that vision ended up becoming. And I started getting asked to speak at conferences about my business model and what I had done. And in hindsight, when I did it, wasn't even super conscious about how unique it was. But in hindsight, I realized I had a lot to offer other studio owners about things I did, decisions I made that turned out to be successful. And once I started speaking, when I first started speaking, I was a little bit like, what do I really have to say that's going to help people? I was a little insecure about, do I really have a message? But as I started speaking, I'd get so many questions and so much follow-up of people really curious to learn more that I realized there was really a missing piece in the industry. Most studio owners start out as fitness professionals or trainers, not necessarily from the business side of things. So I just felt like I really was able to help kind of bridge that gap, and there was a big need for it. So that's why I transitioned into doing business coaching.
And I, in my internet stalking of you prior to the show to get some research and whatnot, I did find a clip where you were speaking about a methodology of thought around looking at the tasks that we need to do. And we're going to dive in about that specifically, but I also want to sort of share with people that I think this is applicable beyond just, being a business owner into our day-to-day lives of priority and being efficient in what we do. And your analogy goes on the lines of there are $1,000 tasks, there are $100 tasks, and there are $10 tasks. And we want to be focusing most of our time on this $1,000 task. Maybe better put, not be bogged down by the $10. But can you put that into your words?
Yeah, I know that's an analogy I started using in my talks, and it just really caught on. People were able to resonate with it because I think it made it tangible to think about how you're spending your time. And the $10 tasks tend to be things that are easy to check off the list. So in some ways you feel accomplished, like, oh, I did all those things, but they're really not, if it's in a business context, they're really not moving the needle in terms of business development or business growth or strategy. And in terms of personal, it's really not things that are bringing you joy or making you feel more fulfilled or helping you be a healthier person. They're usually more the things you have to do in a day. And so the concept is we're all so busy, and if we can get those $10 tasks off our plate and spend them in the more $100 and $1,000 tasks. And the $1,000 task to me, again, with the business analogy, is the things that's going to really, as an owner, they're the thing that only you can really do. It's sort of creating the vision of your business, building your team, leadership, getting out and creating community, marketing, but those can be so big sometimes that they're a little untangible. And so when you have your calendar of your to-do list, it's sort of like business development isn't usually, if it's on there, it's so vague. It's like, what does that really mean? So it gets avoided. And I think even in our personal lives, like those $1,000 things are like having some time for adventure, having some time personal development, or spending time with your family away from your day-to-day. But I think we do get so caught up in the $10 and $100 tasks that those get overlooked when really they're the most important areas to be spending your time.
And I can see sometimes those $10 tasks become a source of comfort because maybe they're easy to do and that we know what to do. There isn't that uncertainty that exists with those $1,000 tasks. And it can feel like we're being very efficient and getting things done because we can check these things off the list.
Exactly.
But we never move the needle, really.
Yeah, and I find that I work with a lot of people who work a lot, and they're sort of struggling to get outside of the kind of hamster wheel of I'm busy, busy, busy. And it's by getting bogged down in those $10 tasks, it's actually making it hard, impossible for you to get to that next level, because until you start spending time in those $1,000 tasks, you're never really going to be able to get to your full potential of where you're trying to go.
Sure.
So it's that catch-22 and getting people to shift their mindset and realizing, okay, this is essential for me to change, where I'm focusing my time if I ever really want to get to my end goal.
Yep. As I said, this is a show of firsts, and actually something that you were first at. You were the first female strength and conditioning coach at the University of Oregon.
Yep.
You also now are a woman business owner, a very successful one in what is primarily a bit of a male-skewed industry, if not male-dominated industry. How has that journey been for you, and what advice do you have for people that find themselves in similar circumstances?
Mm-hmm. I think for me, I was fortunate in that I got a lot of opportunity at a young age through my sports to do things that were maybe unique. They weren't typical for women to be doing, like being a strength coach. And I took those opportunities as just a way to build my confidence, to kind of step outside the norm and push myself. I think I never saw being a woman business owner as a limitation. I just that was like the next step for me. But I do realize that having that confidence that I learned in my younger years being an athlete really helped me in that realm. So when I'm working with women specifically on businesses, just really finding who you are authentically in your own strengths, because everybody's different. Everybody brings a different strength. There's a lot of strengths about being a woman that make you a great business owner. And I think the more you can step into your own confidence, you're going to get more respect. And that ends up being what makes you successful in the long run, is having respect for yourself so others have respect for you as well.
Absolutely. And we talked about being authentic, bringing your authentic self, not looking at the world through the things that have gone wrong, but to look to those successes of people that can be inspiration for us and people we can look up to.
Yeah.
And with that, you are starting a group called Maverick Women.
Yes.
Coming up later this year, I believe, is the sort of the plan.
Correct.
And like Gordy said, we're talking about it before it's in existence. So we're going to make this. But can you share with everyone what the mission behind Maverick Women is?
Yeah. Well, there's so much. I mean, obviously, there's so much talk out there now about women and women in leadership and creating opportunities for women. And I just felt like there was an opportunity to shine a light on the women who actually already are doing great things and have had success and have maybe been trailblazers in their industry or overcome some of those obstacles that are true obstacles. There are true obstacles out there, unfortunately. But there's so many women that have had great success that I think being able to highlight their stories and unite those people of influence to really show what's possible, inspire and create hope in others, and even create some education programs that can help other women have more opportunity. And so, yeah, we're in sort of the development idea stage right now, and I'm working on creating some partnerships, and we're looking to roll out some events starting in the fall.
That's awesome. Well, we're really excited for that. And with that, we did get Ashley's permission, but we're going to share Ashley's email address on the screen. So if you're interested in participating, learning about Maverick Women, or if you're local and want to check out Evolution Trainers, you can drop Ashley an email, and she'd be more than happy to help you out with things.
Absolutely.
Ashley, thank you very much for your time and your story. You are inspirational, and congratulations on all your success and the continued success I'm sure you'll have.
Thank you,
Round of applause for Ashley Selman.